Rabbi. Rabbi for your lecture. And we're going to continue on because we had some technical difficulties with the Power Talk that we ironed out. Great experience going forward. Messianic congregation 376. No, this is not a Messianic congregation. So we're look at the title up here. Look at we're Forever Israel, and we're descendants of and believers in the faith, the belief, the way of life of Abraham. So you're more than welcome to stay put and listen in. We are believers and followers of the Torah of Moshe, Torah of Moses, Torah of Musa, and so I think it's very, very important that we understand that going forward, because one of the first things that humanity wants to do is to put you in a camp. They want to classify you. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And you see this a lot, and I would encourage you all this day, don't get offended by it. That's the worst thing you can do, is get offended by it and react instead of act. You know what I mean? Don't react, because the first thing you want to do is go off on a wild tangent and give them give them 2 cents or 5 cents. You know what I mean? So all you need to do is hold your shalom, and I hope you learn from our Queen lecture. What I picked up from his lecture, bigger than anything, is that what we must do is do everything in peace, do everything in love, and do everything with a respect for one another. Remember earlier I talked about in the lecture, I talked about always elevating the person that you're dealing with above you. That's important for you to do. If you have that kind of mindset, then you'll leave that person in a better state than you found them. And that's my whole remit for the great gift of life that I've been given. When I'm looking up towards heavens, when I'm laying in my bed and I'm getting ready to take my last breath and I'm looking up towards the universes, I want to be able to say this, that I left the world, my world, in a better place than I found it. You know what I mean? How many of you can agree with that statement and want to be a part of that? Because I think that's the most important thing that we can do. I think that is the most important, and what a legacy to leave on the face of this earth. Is that no, I didn't start confusion. I wasn't a part of no protest group that divided. But what I did on this earth was I multiplied. You see what I mean? 376 says, I'm a Christian who left the Trinitarian beliefs, and now I have Jesus as Messiah, but no church or synagogue to go to. Well, you're more than welcome to come here. You're more than welcome to come here. 376, you're more than welcome. We're like our forefather Abraham. The doors are open to all. We don't discriminate against anyone based on anything, because at the end of the day, 376 is that we're all human beings. We're all human beings. And what folks don't understand is this, because come on, let's face it, we have to get real with reality. And many people want to live in fantasy. Wow, that would be a great lecture, right? But we must get real with reality and understand that we're all in this world together. Yes, we've been given dominion over this earth. And all of us, each and every individual and collectively, will be held accountable on the dominion responsibility that we've been given. What did you do with your world? Did you enhance your world? Did you multiply your world? Or did you divide it? Because we've been given a commandment. I mean, it's in our covenants that we're to multiply, not divide. Go back to Genesis and read it if you don't believe me. God put us on this earth to multiply animal and human beings. It's to multiply the earth, not divide it. Division is nowhere in our books. But yet, majority of human beings today want to divide. They want to divide. Isn't that that's actually a game, isn't it? Divide and conquer. How many of you play divide and conquer? Because that's the mentality of most, I won't say all of humanity today, but they've been conditioned to divide and to conquer. They think you have to divide folks to conquer them, and you don't have to do that. If you multiply, you bring folks in together, then you can all come up together. You understand what I'm saying? And so this is why human beings like you and I, children of the books, children who have taken the yoke of the Torah of Moses, have taken it upon them and have embraced the lifestyle, not a religion. It has nothing to do with religion. We run from religion. But we do believe and live in a lifestyle of our forefathers. live a way of life of our forefathers. And so on this Sukkot celebration, on our Hag Sukkot, Shemek Sukkot to all of you, and I want to tell you this: go with this mandate going forward. Is that you want to be a positive energy on the society, on your environment, and on human beings that you come in contact with, close contact with. I mean, that could be friends, family members, loved ones, and whoever that you come in, strangers that you come in contact with. Because that's when you get to the heart of humanity, that's what it's all about. Because if you're here for religion, you're here at the wrong place. You're here at the wrong place if you're here for religion. Because we're not trying to put you in a class. And I respect all these religions out there. I have no problem with the religions out there. It's just like religion's not for me. And just like you found out 376, religion wasn't for you. But we must understand, as human beings, we weren't put on this earth to run into a religion. When Moses came out of the boat, when Noah came out of the ark, what did he say his religion was? Can anybody tell me? When Noah came out of the ark, Noah and his family, what religion did they proclaim, by the way? Now, if you notice this, time and time again, you'll note with humanity, the first thing they want to do is they want to put you in a class. That's the first thing they'll ask. And they're doing it ignorantly. They're doing it because they don't know. They may be even doing it because they're trying to strike up a conversation. Or just to, as a student of human nature, to kind of find out where you are, who you are, what you are. So they say, well, what's your religion? What do you believe? What do you believe, brother? What's your religion, brother? Just like you heard with Hakohi. First thing you want to do, well, which religion is the best religion? How many times have you heard that before? Well, if you stay neutral, and I tell you, that's the best way to stay, right? We've been taught that by the son of Aaron, by Rabbi Simon Altaf, is to be neutral, right? So if you stay neutral, this is how they'll try to get you. They'll say, okay, brother, then can you tell me what religion is the best religion? And so that's not how they try to get you. And I tell you, to be politically correct and to really, at the end of the day, leave somebody better than you found them, you always want to keep the peace. You want to keep love, you want to keep peace, and you want to keep them happy and full of joy. That's what you want to do. If you didn't find them that way, then you need to leave them that way, because you're the light to the nations. So you proclaim, you say you're the light to the nations, then be the light. Well, how do I be the light, Rabbi? Then you do just what I just instructed. And I'm doing the same thing. You feel a person. You empower them with peace. You empower them with love. You empower them with joy. You see, 376. Are you Sephardi or Ashkenazi? Neither. None of the above 376. And I say that in all humbleness, because that's not my makeup. None of that's my makeup. I'm a believer, like I told you. And like the rest of the folks in this room will tell you, we're a believer in the laws of Moses. Nope, Ethiopian, not that either. Not the only affiliation I have with Africa is that my land of inheritance is on the continent of Africa. That's my only African affiliation. You see, I'm Hebrew. I'm ancestors of the Hebrew. My ancestors are Hebrew, and I'm a Israelite that's dispersed in the nations amongst all the rest of these Israelites that's in here. My brothers and my sisters from the family of Jacob. That's so very important to understand. So very important. So we don't want the class and put everybody in the class. What we want to do as the light, we want to do what? We want to illuminate peace. We want to illuminate joy. Is this a black Hebrew Israelite congregation? In all due respect, 376? Hell no. There's no affiliation with any black Hebrew Israelite mumbo jumbo. Again, that's segregationist and that's dividing. So we don't want to be no part of those hate groups, because they're registered as hate groups, and our affiliation is of all colors. Right now I'm holding my son, right now Nakshan, who is of Chinese and Hebrew descent. He's only 16 days old. And so we don't put no kind of, because they were asking on the birth certificate, well, what is his race? Is he Hispanic? I said no. he's Hebrew. He's Chinese. That's what he is. He's Jewish. That's what he is. And they all looking at me like, oh, okay, sir. Because the first thing they want to do is put you in a class. Now I understand, they have their rhyme and reason. But you see, in today's time, because Israel has been mixed into all the nations, Israel right now, and that's the beauty of the dispersion. The beauty of the exile is we're placed in all these nations. All of you should be so much full of joy right now, being in the nations where you're at. Because this is good for the Jew and the Gentile alike. Because when they mix and they come together, then how do you know who's Jew and who's Gentile? Not by color, not by hair texture, not by the way their syntax, not by how they talk, not by how they walk, but 376 by what they do. What are your doings? Do your doings line up with the faith of Abraham? Do your doings line up with the laws of Moses, the laws of Moshe, the laws of Musa? That's what's important. You see, this is what's very important. Because you can't tell a Jew from a Gentile today just based on looks. You see, you cannot do that because Israel was mixed into all these nations. That's in our books. That was prophesied. It happened, and believe me, I'm a part of that mixing. I'm here in San Antonio, Texas. I've been mixed into the nations and dispersed outside of Israel. Baruch Hashem. I give thanks to the Master Yahweh. I give thanks to the Master Yeshua. Our word is true. Our history is true. Now, as you heard from HaKohen, that's what you're going to find when people try to come at you from a New Testament or renewed contract perspective, is that they have so much mumbo-jumbo mixed in with our history. Our history has really been tainted. They've like taken a Kool-Aid, they've taken the flavor of red Kool-Aid, and they mixed grape and pineapple and strawberry in with it. If I can give you a Kool-Aid analogy. Because I remember as a child, I used to do that. I mean, you used to take many different packets of Kool-Aid, mix them together to come up with your own original flavor. You remember that? So this is just what they done with our history, and they call it the New Testament. They take it and they take that red Kool-Aid and they mix pineapple in there and they mix grape in there, and before you know it, it's a mixture, and you don't know whether you're coming or you're going. And you don't know what's true or false, you see. It's because they've taken our truths. Rabbi Zachariah says you get fruit punch. They've taken our truths and they've adapted and they've added a lot of custom and tradition to it, and they've watered down the facts on the ground. You see, the facts on the ground are that the laws of Moses are king. Torah is what's king. Now, Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh, if you noted, there's not many contextual errors, or let's just say there's not many translation errors within the first 5 books. Do you all notice that? Now, when you get to the prophets, yeah, they kind of mess with the prophets a little bit. They mess with the Psalms a little bit. But when they got to that NT, they had to flip that NT. No, I got it on. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, they had to flip that NT to meet an agenda. You see, the sheep led to the slaughter, that's real. They used the NT let's just say they hijacked the NT, added a lot of custom and tradition, and added a lot of instruction that would fit their religions. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the first 5 books, as EI is telling you, they hardly touched them. You think that's by design? I truly believe it is. You can't touch just like MC Hammer said, you can't touch the laws of Moses. He didn't say that, but he said can't touch this. You cannot touch the laws of Moses. This is why it's so very important. And even the Master Yeshua, the Master Jesus of Nazareth, as he talked to the so-called Pharisees and Sadducees and those experts in the Torah of his time, what did he tell them? They would ask him a question, and he would respond with a question. What does the laws of Moses say? That's the baseline, Mishpahah. So for all these religions, and you heard it, you heard the example and the testimony of HaKohen, Rabbi Simon Altep. He gave it to you today. As all these so-called evangelists and preachers and prophets and blah, 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 and blah, 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 as they were asking him questions, what did he revert and take them right back to? The laws of Moses. What does the laws of Moses say? You see, because you've been given some books that have been truly tainted and truly have been expounded upon to fit an agenda. to fit an agenda, Mishpachah. Now, he did it in love, you see, and he did it in peace. None of those people walked out of that room who visited HaKohen upset, angry, mad, shamed, because that's not our remit, Mishpachah. We're supposed to leave people better than we found them. That's our remit. Make that your mantra as you go forward during your 6 days of labor. It's to leave people in a better state than you found them. We're human beings. And believe it or not, we're social creatures. If you're not a social creature, then you may want to check and see if you're a human being. You understand what I'm saying? Simha saying, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, Israel is found in the four corners of the earth and in the islands of the sea. Baruch Hashem. Tada Rabah for that, Simha. That is so true. That's where Israel is at today. Do you think B'nai Israel is in Israel today? If you believe that, then I have some lakefront property in Nevada to sell you. Because I'm telling you, Israel, now I tell you, there's a small percentage of B'nai Israel in Israel today. But majority of Israel is in the nation, obeying the commandments that's been prophesied and told to us. You see, Master Yahweh hasn't forgotten where his children are. He knows where you are. So you don't have to manifest an aliyah. You don't have to manifest an exodus back to Israel. It doesn't have to be manifested. You understand what I mean by manifested? That means man's hand is all on it. Just like in that NT. Man's hand is all over it. Kit and caboodle. All we do is we sit in these nations and we do just the opposite. When we went, our forefathers, the Hebrews, they went into Egypt with the red carpet treatment and ended up slaves. Well, we're coming out of the slavery. We're coming out of the slavery of what? Religion. All of us are. And to Rabbi for 376 being here, you're a testimony to that fact. You're coming out of the slavery, and would you attest 376 that you were in bondage to religion? That you were enslaved by religion? So now we're coming out of that religion. We're doing just the opposite. We're coming out of the bondage and slavery of religion into what? Into the red carpet treatment in these nations. That's just what we're giving them now. So we're to be productive like our Hebrew ancestors were productive when they went into Egypt. They were given the finest land. They were given the best jobs because they had skills that would enhance Egypt and help Egypt become a super great, powerful nation. What do you think we're supposed to be doing today? Yet you hear on YouTube, what are they telling you? Oh, get out of her. Come from among her. Come out of what do they call it? America. America is Babylon. Yeah. Come out of Babylon. You must come out of her. Well, last newsflash, America is not Babylon. America is one of the great shepherd nations that's going to assist Israel, if not the greatest shepherd nation, that's going to play a vital role in the end times. You want to know more about end times? Get HaKohen's World War III series, and you'll find out. You'll find out that America is one of the great shepherd nations that's going to assist Israel with the exodus back into Israel. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh. So, I think it's very important and vital for us to understand that. Now, what are we to do today in 2019 going forward? Be productive citizens. Invent for this nation. Create for this great nation. And build up and bring this great nation into the greatest place that it can ever be. That's being a light to the nation. You're illuminating. You're helping the nation. You're not taking your light and you're burying it somewhere, or moving to some other country, or getting some land and living on a farm and living off the animals. Now, if you want to do that, so be it. Or so-called coming off the grid, not using credit cards and blah, 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 afraid of AI and all this, that, the other, and the third. Embrace that. You all are listening to me right now because of technology. The internet. Don't run away from it. You're going to find that in everything in life. And this is how the universes, the God of Israel, has established things. The creator of the heavens and the universes. Is that in life, you must have what? The good with the bad. The yin with the yang. That has to be a part of life. So on YouTube, what are you going to find? You're going to find great things on YouTube. But at the same time, what? You're going to find terrible things on YouTube, horrible things on YouTube. And you can take that perspective and use that in every aspect of your life. I can tell you one in my personal life about women. Women. The Most High, He created women from man. Took Adam's ribs and made woman. Hallelujah for that. But in my relationship with women, I ran into some bad women. And then I ran into the best woman I found in the world in China. My wife now. I tell you what, my angel. The very essence of my being. Baruch Hashem. So do you understand? You're going to have the good with the bad. Now, the question is, we have to learn how to live with that. We already have to anticipate it. You see, these people that think there's a such thing as a utopia, to where everything is always good and there's no bad, they're living in a fallacy, you see. They're living in a fallacy. They're living in a false world. But let me tell you something, 376. Before I could really appreciate and give gratification for good, guess what? I had to live the bad. I had to live those bad relationships so I have a high appreciation for good. You understand what I mean? I mean, this is reality. We're talking reality 101 here. I'm not giving you no mumbo jumbo here. I'm not here to give you goosebumps, but I'm here to give you reality, because that's what my teacher teaches me. HaKohen, the Kohen, Simon Altaf, he taught me, as I am his student for life, is he taught me, is that you have to appreciate the good. You have to appreciate the bad to really give praise for the good. And there's both spectrums, and we all have to go through it in life. No respecter of persons. The Creator, the Master Yahweh is no respecter of persons. We all going to have to go through it. But you can go through it in peace, and you can go through it in love, and you can go through it happy. That's what I did. And to this day, all the ex-relationships, I truly respect them. If I see them, if I hear from them, I tell them thank you for the relationship. Thank you for the time that we had. Thank you for the experience that I've gained. I hold no hatred, Mishpachah. And I have been rewarded for that. I have been given love. I have been given love beyond measure. And my wife now, loyalty beyond measure. And my wife now, because at one time I had the polar opposite of that. You see what I'm saying? So it truly makes me appreciate and really make me puff out my chest a little bit and give thanks in all humility, and give thanks to the Creator, give thanks to my Kohen for giving me the instruction that I needed to go forward so I can establish my family. And now I'm holding little Nakshan right now, as I talk to you right now. He's sleeping on my chest, snoring away. 15 days old, Baruch Hashem. Already getting full of Torah, full of Mandarin, full of Torah, full of Hebrew. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh. I give thanks to the Creator of the heavens and the universes. And at the same time, I want you all to really understand, show gratitude, and be joyful in our celebration of Sukkot. Give joy, but at the same time, show gratitude towards our Torah by how you live your life, by how you go out and you perform your Torah. Performance is key. Proper performance will make you perfect, but your performance must be proper. Well, how do I get proper performance? You take instruction from the teachers. Who are the teachers of Israel? They're not Creflo. They're not Jesse Duplantis. They're not Kenneth Copeland. Who are the teachers of Israel? Who does our books tell us are the teachers of Israel? Well, they're the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron. They're our teachers. And Israel is to take instruction from the Kohanim. There will always be a Kohen in the gate. There will always be a Kohen. Always. So this is why I ask everyone who proclaims to be Israel. You know, the first question I ask them, I say, well, who's your Kohen? What do you mean Kohen? I have Rabbi so-and-so and so-and-so and Rabbi so-and-so. No. I ask you, who's your Kohen? What's his name? Where is your son of Aaron? Because that's where you're going to receive your instruction. So this is why we have a hodgepodge of the religion. And believe it or not, if you haven't heard it, you're going to hear it today. Judaism is a religion. I'm going to say it again. Judaism is a religion. Now, Judaism is one of the biggest religions that will hoodwink and bamboozle you. Judaism is a religion. It will hoodwink. It will segregate you. It will shackle you into a lot of custom and tradition. But there's nothing behind it. There's no root to it. Judaism has no root, just like all the other religions. They have no root to them. Because I tell you, one thing, one thing I was told by this old man. He told this wise man. You know what he said? He said, to tell a good lie, you have to have some truth. Anybody ever heard that before? If you want to tell a good lie, you have to have some truth. And I was like, wow, that made a lot of sense. And that's what Judaism does. They'll come to you with the laws of Moses. They'll come to you with some truth. But behind it is just a bunch of custom and tradition that has nothing to do with the laws of Moses. And you hear sweating bullets and doing all these weird things that's not even mandated. And not even, it's not even required by the God of Israel. See, that's what you run into. So, Baruch Hashem for all of you who want to face reality and live in a real world and do good things and see your desires met. Because at the end of the day, the Most High wants you to meet your desires. That's how you please God, by being happy. Going back to the default settings in the garden. Right now, Sean? Yes. By going back to the default settings in the garden. What are those default settings? Peace, love, and joy. Those are the default settings for humanity. So when we say we need to illuminate our light, this is what we need to bring forth to all humanity. Every person that we come in contact with. Peace, love, joy, and I'll throw in another one for kicks and giggles, happiness. Majority of the world today wants to be happy. Now, if I got to give out Halloween candy, my little Reese's cup to the children that come knock on my door to make them happy, guess what Rabbi Kefa's doing? I'm giving out Halloween candy, no problem. I'll give you a Reese's cup, little girl, if it's going to make you happy, put a smile on your face, fill your tummy, and give you a lot of good sugar, so you can have a lot of energy. I'll do it. I'll do it, there's no problem. But I'm not going to sit here and be judgmental. Say, oh, you Christians are going to hell, you celebrate Halloween, and blah, blah, blah. It's not mandated by the laws of Moses. No. How am I going to judge these people by a Torah standard, who these people will proclaim to be Gentiles? How can I judge them by the standard of the Torah, of the Jews? That is totally not fair. Am I correct? Yet we do it all the time. Some of us, we do it ignorantly, and some of us, we do it blatantly, because we feel like we're better than the next person. And that's totally wrong attitude to have. Keep yourself humble and meek, and let the Master Yahweh raise you up. Keep yourself humble and meek, and the Master Yahweh will raise you up for sure. Right now, Sean? Yes. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, sending the kids back to their homes, candy bouncing off the walls in their house. Yeah, indeed. If that's going to make them happy, then so be it. Then that's what I'm going to do. So that's what we need to do as the children of the books, as those that have the Torah, as those that have taken on the Torah of Moses. It said we need to go back and we need to live like our ancestors live and have respect for all humanity. Abraham didn't have a bouncer at the door and said, okay, let these certain people in. If they have curly hair, let them in. If they have straight hair, don't let them in. If they talk this language, they can't eat at my table. Abraham never said anything like that. He had his doors open 24/7, 365 to all people. If you're hungry, come and eat. And that's the mentality that we need to have. Because there will be some that will come to you and they want to live the lifestyle that you live. But here's the question. Are you approachable? Can they come to you? Or are you part of these hate groups out here? To where they won't come to you. Matter of fact, they're afraid of you. Because you walk around calling people white devils and you're going to change my baby's diaper in the next life. What kind of foolishness is that? That has nothing to do with the Master Yeshua. That has nothing to do with the laws of Moses. Nothing whatsoever. Yet they say they're kings and they're priests and blah, blah, blah. I leave them to it. I leave them to it. I leave them to it, Mr. Hall. I leave him to it. Right now, Sean? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I leave him to it. And that's what we need to do. And that's the mandate that we need to take going forward as we come up on our new year. Is we need to prepare ourselves to do better than we did next year. Come up on our civil new year. But we need to prepare ourselves to do better than we did next year. That's so important. So important, Mishpachah. That's the mandate that I give you this day. As we all look to our Sukkot, as we all look to our Festival of Tabernacles, I tell you, Nashan's talking already. He's only 15 days old. He's going to be just like his father, a talker. The doctor, we took him to the doctor the other day. Doctor's like, my goodness, your baby's already trying to talk. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. I said, yeah, I know. He's just like his father. Baruch Hashem. I give thanks. He's already trying to talk, I'm telling you. Nashan's only 15 days old and he's already trying to talk, Rabbi Zakaria. Oliver. Next time he comes on, he'll probably be saying Viva la France. I don't know. But he's already trying to talk. Baruch Hashem. I give thanks to the God of Israel. This is the next generation of the tribe of Judah right here, Nachshon. He will go forward with a powerful name, powerful mission, powerful mandate, and he will carry it out because he will do. He saw his father do, and he will do. Baruch Hashem, Yahweh. Oh, and of course he will like chocolate. Of course he will like chocolate. Yeah, he will like chocolate. Right now it's breast milk. Right now it's breast milk, and it's not chocolate flavor yet. So, Baruch Hashem. But I give thanks to the God of Israel, and I'm so happy and so humble that I really now, I have a full understanding, as I told the Kohen, I have a full understanding, and fatherhood is totally awesome. It's totally awesome. Many years of my life, I've been in relationships with women with children from another father. So I never got around to having my own. Yet I won't say it that way, but I'll say it this way. Shabbat Shalom to you, 376. You're more than welcome to come back anytime, huh? Anytime you want. The door is open to you. I'll say it this way. Is that it wasn't the appointed time for me to have children. I'll put it to you like that. You know, heaven knew when I was supposed to have children, and it wasn't the appointed time until now is the appointed time for me to have children. I thought I was ready for children earlier, but not the case. So, Baruch Hashem, I give thanks for how everything in life happens for a reason. I want you all to understand that. Nothing in life doesn't happen by accident. Just like I hear some parents say, oh, well, you were an accident, little Tommy. No, little Tommy was no accident. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh. So, we give thanks, and I want to encourage you all to have a wonderful Shabbat, a wonderful celebration time for your Sukkot. If you haven't celebrated already, or if you're in it already, enjoy it. I'm enjoying fatherhood. Me and Nachshon is going to go under our sukkah later when it's nice and cool out. I don't want to bring him out in the sun just yet. You know, his pigmentation is changing just like his father now. That melanin is kicking in, so I'm super happy about that. Hair is starting to get a little curly like his dad. Fur was straight like his mother. Now it's curling up. I tell you, he's just a bundle of joy. I tell you, Mishpachah. If I can express, I can't express the way I tell you how I feel, and it's just like I feel like I'm in heaven. You know, fatherhood is totally awesome, and it's everything I expected and more. And I'll leave you with this because you know I thought you had to prepare for fatherhood, like I told the Mishpachah earlier. I thought fatherhood was a preparation, you know. But what the Hokmah revealed to me is this. And I'm going to say it again because I think it's so important for you dads out there, is that you just do fatherhood. You can't prepare for it. You just do. You're able to act with any situation that comes your way. You see, you just do it. Right, Nashon? Nashon said, yeah, Dad, you just do it. You just do fatherhood. You can't prepare for it. You just do it. And so that's what I've learned from the Hokmah, is that you just do fatherhood. You do fatherhood, you do motherhood, you do the Hebrew way of life, you do our Torah. You just do it. You do it to the best of your ability. Then you're perfect. You do it. And then when you can perfect your perfection, you perfect your perfection. You get even better at it. And this is what I want to encourage you this day. As we come upon our new year, let's perfect our profession, our perfection. Because guess what? Can anybody agree with me that Torah is perfect? Who agrees with me that Torah is perfect? Torah is perfect, right? Then, if I'm following the Torah, then what does that make me? If I'm a follower, if I've embraced the Torah, what does that make me? Think about that for a minute. You see? Think about that for a minute. So we can perfect on our perfection. We can perfect upon our perfection. And that's the message I want to get out to you this day, is that you can perfect your perfection. You know what I mean? That's so very important. So as we start off our civil new year, and we keep it going, we come to the end of our Torah. Now we're going to be back in the book of Bereshit once again and go through it again. We're perfecting our perfection. That's what we're doing. Our forefathers went around Egypt. Went around Israel so many times, just circling Israel. What were they doing? Perfecting their perfection. Many Israelites, many Hebrews at that time, probably complaining, right? Never realizing to think with their subconscious and say, wow, I have another opportunity to perfect my perfection. Let's go around again so I can perfect my perfection. Baruch Hashem. That's the kind of mindset that we need to have. That's the kind of mindset that we need to have. So very important. Okay? Simha saying, please read, go back to Simha 9 happy faces. Let's remember all year. 9 happy faces. Okay, Nashan. Oh, must be time for Nashan to get on that bottle. Okay, Nashan. Okay, Shalom. Okay. Fatherhood is awesome. Okay, Nashan. Yes, okay. Nashan likes to eat, Mishpah. He's already pushing 10 pounds. He likes to eat. He's going to be a strong. He's tall and lanky. All of his levels, because the doctor put him on these different levels. He's high levels in every one of those. High levels. So he's above the average. So I give thanks. I give thanks to the Creator of heavens and the universes for my son, for our son. So on that note, we'll wrap it up, Mishpah. I think we'll call it a wrap because I have daddy duties over here. Daddy duties for life, and I'm so excited to be able to do so. I wish you all a great holiday ahead. Hak Shemek Sukkot to all of you, Mishpah. And Nashan, maybe I have a diaper too. So I need to get going. Okay, Shabbat Shalom and Shalom to you all, Mishpah. Have a great 6 days of labor ahead. I love you and I leave you. And Nashan says Shalom to all of you as well, and Shabbat Shalom. Okay.
Shabbat Shalom, awesome tribes of Israel. This is Rabbi Simon Asaf Cohen, speaking from the East. And today we're going to look at our, today actually, formally, there is no Pasha, because it is according to the Hanuk calendar, it is the festival of Sukkot, which is a festival of tabernacles. And before we get into the tabernacles mode, I wanted you to just read the joke of the week, which goes, it's a very short one this time. It goes like this, that the last time that we changed from daylight saving time, a preacher friend posted these comments. He said, for those who habitually show up 15 minutes late to church, allow me to remind you that tonight is a night you set your clock back 45 minutes. Now we're going to look at the Feast of Tabernacles, because that's what it is today. Generally, when there is a festival, we do not formally read a Pasha reading. We omit that and we go and read the reading that is related to that particular event. And as I look at the calendar, the Enoch calendar, the reading there mentioned is Vayikra, Leviticus chapters 22 to 26 and 23 to 44, and it kind of starts speaking about chapters 22. If we go there, chapters 22, 23, let me just pull it up. Chapters 22, 26 is as follows. Vayikra, which is the book of Leviticus, chapters 22, verses 26. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, when a bullock or a sheep or a goat is brought forth, then it shall be 7 days under the care of his mother, and from the 8th day and thenceforth it shall be accepted for an offering made by fire to Yahweh. And whether it be a cow or ewe, you shall not kill it and her young both in 1 day. And when you will offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving to Yahweh, offer it at your own will. On the same day it shall be eaten up. You shall leave none of it until the morrow. I am Yahweh. Therefore shall you keep my commandment and do them. I am Yahweh. Neither shall you profane my holy name, for I will be holy among the children of Israel. I am Yahweh who sanctifies you, that brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim to be your power. I am Yahweh. And then it goes on and talks about the appointed times in Leviticus 23. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, concerning the Moadim, the appointed times of Yahweh, which they shall proclaim to be holy assemblies, even these are my feasts. 6 days work shall be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest, a holy assembly. You shall do no work therein. It is a Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings. These are the Moadim, appointed times of Yahweh, even holy convocations which they shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month is Yahweh's protection Passover. On the 15th day of the same month is the Hag HaMetzor, the appointed celebration time of unleavened roti to Yahweh. 7 days you must eat matzah. In the first day you shall have a holy assembly. You shall do no servile work therein. You shall offer an offering made by fire to Yahweh 7 days. In the 7th day is a holy assembly. Now if we follow this through, it basically takes us to the festival of tabernacles, which I shall come up to over here. It also speaks about the other festivals that we just did, Yom Kippur. It does speak about Yom Kippur as well, which it says in verse 27, also on the 10th day of the 7th month there shall be Yom Kippurim. It shall be a Mikra Kodesh to you, and you shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire to Yahweh. Okay, so that was the Yom Kippurim. Then after the Yom Kippurim, it talks about the next festival, which is what we are on today, according to the Hanuk calendar. Verse 34, speak to the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be a Hag HaSukkot, the appointed celebration time of tabernacles for 7 days to Yahweh. On the first day shall be a Mikra Kodesh. You shall do no servile work therein. 7 days shall you make an offering made by fire to Yahweh, and 8th day shall be a Mikra Kodesh to you. And you shall offer an offering made by fire to Yahweh. It is a solemn assembly. You shall do no servile work therein. Okay, so that's great. So, based on this, today, today, by the way, is the festival of Sukkot, and this will run for, as you know, for 8 days, leading us to the conclusion of the Torah, the blessings of the Torah, the completion of the Torah readings, and so on and so forth, where we then kickstart the new year with the new readings, or at least a civil new year. Now, of course, many people will ask, well, what do we do on this festival? Well, we give thanks to the God of Israel, to Yahweh, and we give thanks for our life, and we celebrate it by making a nice meal, usually a fish meal or a beef meal. If you like lamb, you can make a lamb meal. We then have vegetables with it, different kinds. We have some fruits with it. Preferably new fruits of the season, could be pomegranates or other things that come up in this season. And then we also have a sweet dish with it of your choice, whatever sweet dishes you like. It could be a cake, it could be a cheesecake, it could be something else that whatever is your custom. that you like to cook on a festival, is you're permitted to do so. There's no particulars about this. The Torah doesn't say, hey, you got to cook, you got to make a cheesecake, or it doesn't say you got to make a chocolate cake. This is left to you to celebrate it, give thanks to God. Also during this time, people make small booths, and these booths are usually attached to the wall of the house, and there's like a side curtains on both sides, and one side is left open for a door, and you can sit inside it, you can eat your dinner inside it, and if it's big enough, you can even sleep. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend that for people who live in cold climates. I wouldn't recommend it because you don't want to catch cold outside and become ill. And this is usually what takes place in tabernacles. As I'm in travel mode, I'm in the middle of traveling. I'm in my student's house over here. I definitely cannot make a booth, but I shall celebrate the festival nevertheless. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. That I shall definitely do. So, and I am doing it. There's been a special dish that's been made for me today, and we're going to have a nice special dish. But I wanted to give you some, I wanted to tell you the miracles that have happened on my journey that Yahweh has performed, and I thought it'd be appropriate for me to tell you this, so that you know that, favor goes with us. God gives us favor as we travel along the way, and that kind of, that's proof in itself that we are the chosen people of God. Now, several things happened this week, and you're going to love to listen to these. I sat, in the city one of these cities. I was in the province of Punjab. I left the northwest frontier to travel down southeast, and I came to southeast to one of the cities, Gujranwala. I was there till yesterday. Then I left that city to come to Punjab, further southeast to Lahore. This is a city I was born in. Now the other city, I had several meetings with pastors and elders. They came to the house to visit me, and we generated several conversations. And what happened, they asked me, they said, what is your denomination? And the people that were with me, they told them, they said, make an introduction for yourself. And I said, well, I'll let them make an introduction for me. And they said, well, Simon, Rabbi Simon is a teacher of the Bible, and he is from the line of the Levites. He is actually a Kohen. He is one of the sons of Aaron. Is from the same lineage as Moses. So they asked me, they said, what denomination do you belong to? I said, I don't belong to any denomination. I am part of Bnai Israel, the children of Israel. I said, we do not have any denominations. We are just called the children of Israel, Bnai Israel. And they said to me that, which denomination do you favor? Like the Baptists, the Pentecostals, Catholics. Obviously Catholic over here is believed to be a type of denomination as well. And they said Presbyterian. I said, to me they're all the same, because if they are serving God, then so be it. I don't disfavor any denomination, and I don't favor any. If wherever God calls me to be, I go there and I teach the Torah and I teach the laws of God. I don't care which denomination. I don't care if they call themselves Catholics. I don't care if they call themselves Baptists. Wherever God calls me, I go sit there, I go teach the law. And if they want to hear the laws of God, I am more than happy to teach them the laws of God. That's, my calling. They said, great. So they asked me, there was one particular, a man who came in who was, related to the family I was staying in their house. And he said to them, he said, I am evangelist, so and so. I said, great. Keep evangelizing. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. And so he said to me, he started to tell me about the New Testament. Started to talk about the New Testament. And after a little while, I asked him a question. I said, I have a question, if you don't mind, because you're talking about the New Testament. I'd like to come back to the New Testament in a moment, but first, you must have heard the stories of Moses stories of Egypt and other things that happened in our past? And he said, yes, I've heard of those stories. And I said, from those stories, could you possibly elaborate to me, why did God have to destroy Egypt and send 10 miracles, the 10 plagues, and why did God make Pharaoh's heart hard? Why didn't he just get the children of Israel out without all of that palava, without all that happened? Why did he do that? What was the purpose behind it? And I said, that's my first question. My second question is, you know that everybody was supposed to be a slave over there. He said, yes. I said, how did Aaron get out of, how did Aaron manage to find a day off, come and visit Moses outside the land of Egypt and, greet him? That was my second question. So my third question is, how did, when God asked Moses to go into Egypt, Moses said, I stutter. I cannot speak properly. Why did Moses stutter? When that happened? So the reason why I gave him these questions, because he was trying to teach me the New Testament, and I thought I will come back to the New Testament later, but first I need to talk about the Torah, our expedition, things that happened to us in our past, before I move into the future, before I start discussing the New Testament at hand. And so, he struggled to answer. He tried several scenarios, but of course his answers were not correct, and his wife was sitting with him. By this time his wife started to become a little bit frustrating with her husband. She said, she said to me, he doesn't know the answers, why don't you just tell us, so that we can learn this as well, why these things happened. So I proceeded to tell them why Moses stuttered, and why God used Pharaoh to demonstrate his power. And I told them, I said, God does not delight in killing Egyptians. God doesn't delight in drowning people in the sea. And God definitely doesn't delight in, trying to show himself against the people who really have no power against him. I said, the whole purpose of that scenario, the whole purpose of sending the plagues, wasn't that God was trying to show, how powerful he is, or how weak the Pharaoh was, although Pharaoh was very powerful. I said, what God was trying to show was that later generations that were going to come, that's you and me, God wanted us to remember what God did for our forefathers. Hence why this whole scenario that God enacted was for our purpose, not for them. That just happened, and they left Egypt, they went, and Pharaoh asked for a blessing, and Pharaoh got a blessing. But God was trying to say, remember what I did for you, because if you read the 10 Commandments, it doesn't say, hey, I created the heavens and the earth. It actually says, I am the God who brought you out of the land of your slavery, Egypt. So I said, henceforth the purpose for Pharaoh, I said, God actually strengthened, God didn't harden his heart in the normal sense. I said, God strengthened his heart. The word that is used when God says he hardened his heart is the word chazakh. Chazakh basically means when we encourage somebody. When somebody is leaving town or going to travel, we say chazakh. When somebody is going to go to war, we say chazakh. Meaning to be strengthened in God. So he was being strengthened, not being weakened, because God wanted to demonstrate to the later generations that they may remember what God did for our forefathers, that we may not forget that, hey, God did these great miracles for our forefathers. If he can do it for them, he can do it for us as well. That we need to remember that. Whenever we celebrate the feast of Passover, we remember those things, what happened. So that was the purpose. And I said the reason that Aaron came out, took a holiday, was that the priesthood was not under subjugation. They were not under slavery as the rest of Israel. I said in fact, the Bible says, the Torah speaks about Pharaoh saying to Moses, I do not know your God. I said, what does that mean, I do not know your God? I said, it doesn't mean what you read. The Bible reads, it says, I do not know your God. I don't see his name in my list. I said, Pharaoh actually knew Yahweh's name. He knew it. He knew who Yahweh is. So when he is saying to Moses, I do not know your God, he does not mean that I do not know your God. If he didn't know his God, why was he paying Aaron and Aaron's sons a stipend? He was actually paying them a stipend every month to be the priesthood, and they were free to roam around wherever they wanted to go. So why then say, I do not know your God? I said, actually, it doesn't mean that. It means that I do not know the miracles of your God. That's what he was saying when he says, I do not know the name of your God. Because name always means fame. And I said, unfortunately for Christians, this is lost on Christianity, because they don't understand that what the Hebrew states in its English translation, it doesn't mean what the actual English translation states. So it means not, I don't know your God. Of course he knew who Yahweh was, but they didn't know what kind of authority, what kind of reputation, what kind of miracles that our God could do. So when he says, I do not know your God, he means, hey, I don't know what kind of miracles you can do. I don't know what kind of power you have. I don't have any recorded history of you in that regard. That's what he was saying. Therefore, God sending the plagues was a direct result of Pharaoh's question to, Pharaoh's answer to Moses, I do not know your God. Well, then God said, okay, you don't know me. Well, here you go. I'm sending you 10 plagues. Now you know me. That's what it actually meant. So, I said, why did Moses stutter? Because Moses had a history as a baby when he was brought to Pharaoh through his daughter when he was found on the river Nile. I said at that point there was a story, an incident where Moses was sitting in the lap of the Pharaoh playing as a baby, and he grabbed the Pharaoh's crown and he pulled it off. And then the Pharaoh's advisor said, this is not a good sign. They said, this is not a good sign. And so therefore at this point I had to explain to him that how Moses as a baby had picked up the crown of Pharaoh. Pharaoh's advisors had advised of Pharaoh that this may be a bad sign, that he needs to do a test on the baby, whether the baby will pick up the crown or a hot coal which was brought on a plate. And it was the angels, one of the angels that was sent, Gabriel of course, and he made the baby Moses to pick up the coal and touch his tongue, because that was a test that indicated that the baby Moses was not deliberately taking the crown off. In other words, it was made to look that he's not smart and doesn't know what he's doing. In fact, Moses did know what he's doing, even as a baby. But this was a miracle to save Moses' life. To explain that. Then after that incident, I had a second pastor come, and he started discussions about New Testament again. So I took a issue with one of the references in the New Testament, which is really a bad translation, of the issue of Simon the leper. I said, you must have read the stories of Simon the leper. He said, yes, and so on and so forth. So I explained that Simon the leper is actually nothing to do with leprosy. There was no such man called Simon the leper. It was Simon the jar merchant. And the mistranslations that occurred in the Greek to the English and other languages occurred as a result of translating the words wrong, and the mistranslations that occurred had caused, wide-scale misinformation and about inaccurate information that spread because of bad translations. And I explained to him that, the world over, people think that Jesus of Nazareth belonged to a poor family, that they had, he had no place to stay, his family was really poor, and so on and so forth. And I explained that there was not such a thing. There's no such a thing. Jesus actually belonged to a very rich family. His grandfather, Eli, was one of the richest men of Jerusalem. And I said his uncle was the second richest man. So therefore, you cannot, make up a story about Jesus being from a poor family and how they had no place to stay and all that. Stories that are made up. I said what people don't realize is that Joseph, who was the adoptive father of Jesus, he actually had two wives. one in the north, one in the south. And that's another long story, but I said I'm not going to go into that. But know this, that Jesus was from a rich family, a very politically motivated family. He, Herodes was a king at the time. Herodes was afraid of this family. He had the grandfather of Jesus assassinated, in fact from both sides. And Jacob, who was the father of Joseph, was also assassinated by Herodes, so they were also political. And so was Ali, who was the father of Miriam. And both of these were influential people. So I explained that there's a lot of things that are in the New Testament, or there is a history outside of the New Testament that is not available to people who generally teach in churches, and that history is never touched on. And so therefore a story is made up of a young carpenter who had no place to stay. I said he wasn't even a carpenter. That's another story. So they said, well, the New Testament calls his father a carpenter, so he learned to be carpenter too. I said no, he was not a carpenter. I said the word that is translated carpenter is actually a word that should mean a home builder, a house builder, or a stone decorator. Somebody who knows how to cut stones and decorate. And this is another business that they were into, because his question was, well, if they were a rich family, why were they a carpenter? Well, I said the problem is not that the fact that he was a carpenter, but the problem was that his family were rich and they were into stone merchants. And I said stone merchants, expensive stones, how to decorate the homes and how to build the homes. I said that's what they were into. Now if you mistranslate the Greek word into whatever language you like, you get a carpenter and you get the whole story twisted up. So that's the problem. So I explained that this is not just one incident. There are many incidents where the information has been mistranslated, misconstrued, misconstructed, and a whole shebang, thing happens to be. So he said to me, this pastor said to me, what about, he asked me, am I baptized? So why would I need to be baptized in Jesus' name? He said in Jesus' name. I said, why would I need to be baptized in Jesus' name exactly? I said, let's just ask the question. I said, you're telling me that a Kohen needs to be baptized through the tribe of Judah under what pretext? Do you have a commandment for that? Does the Torah tell me that I need to do that? And I said, what you forget is that actually Jesus came to the Levite. Not the Levite went to Jesus, Jesus came to him. I said, did you not see that in your own New Testament where it says that Jesus came to Yochanan the immerser, and the Yochanan the immerser was a Levite, and he baptized Jesus. So what does that show you? Shows you who's higher in authority on this earth, the Levite or the tribe of Judah? So he didn't know that. You see, these people unfortunately are not taught these things, so they are ignorant. So I explained to him, there is no such commandment that says that the family of the Kohanim, need to come to Jesus to be saved. There's no such thing. I said these are stories made by Christianity's nonsensical nonsense theologies that have no place in the Torah. I said the Torah is very clear that God says in Deuteronomy 28:1, if you will obey my commandments, I will raise you up above all the nations. You will be higher than all the other nations. I said, do you seriously think that God's going to make us wait 4,000 years to raise us up and to save us? I said, come on, use your sense. I said, Abraham was given covenants. Those covenants were passed down to Israel. As a nation, they were, allegorically married to God. And I said that the covenant was formed with Israel as well. And it was based on fidelity of Israel and God to be with each other and to be redeemed, rescued, and have eternal life. And not only have eternal life, but also have abundance in life. I said, we do not have to wait, 4,000 years later, after the events of, let's say, for argument's sake, or 2,000 years later, for the cross event to occur, which is again totally misconstructed and misconstrued, and whole new theologies arise out of that. I said we don't need to wait for that. There's no such commandment for us. However, I said, Jesus, as a person, was part of our family. In other words, he was the tribe of Judah. He came for Israel. He came for the lost or the scattered tribes of Israel. He did not come for Gentiles, but because our people mix with the Gentiles, there's a national calling for our people to come back and return with their Gentile families. Whether it be wives, children, and whatnot. These people will return together. But we do not have to wait to receive salvation. Are you telling me that God does miracles for us in Egypt and then tell us, hey, you got to wait for Jesus to turn up before you'll be all be saved? I said, unfortunately, we do not believe in such things and we do not follow such theologies of Christianity. However, I'm perfectly fine for people to teach that, and if you like to believe that, I'm okay with that as well. So he's like, what about Mark chapter 16 verses 16, where it says that you have to be baptized in the name of let me pull up Mark 16:16 and see what it says there. And he said to them, go, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believes not shall be condemned. Okay, so 15 and 16 he quoted me. He said, go onto the world and preach the gospel to every creature, and you got to be saved through the baptism, etc. I stopped him right there. I said, do you even know the history of the book of Mark? Do you know what the history of that book is? Obviously you didn't know nothing about it. I said, let me actually give you a little education over here. The book of Mark, the chapter that you quoted and the verses that you quoted to me, 15 and 16, do not exist in the original copies of the manuscript. They are non-existent. They were inserted later by a scribe. The chapter actually finishes at verse 8. So I said, I know the New Testament at the back of my hand and the front of my hand. I could flip it back and forth. The whole of your Bible, I could flip it back and forth and I could tell you stories you've never heard of. But I said, so let us not make new doctrines out of things that don't exist. I said, because you believe, because you have a New Testament and translated it into your language and you believe it, I'm okay with that. Absolutely no problem with that. If you have the faith to believe that you have to be saved in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, go ahead, do it. Go ahead, preach that to everybody and dunk them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I said, I have no such commandment. I have no such commandment from the Torah that tells me that I need to save people, dunk them in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm sorry, don't have that. I'm not going to do that. As far as these things are concerned, I said, you may not even know that Matthew 28:19-20, where they say the baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost is also another verse that has been inserted by a later scribe. It does not consist. It's not in the copies of the original Gospels. Again, I say you have a problem. Houston, you have a problem. 1 John chapter 4, another inserted verse in the Bible that doesn't exist, which talks about the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So I said, these three verses are so controversial that Western world already knows this. They hide these things because it brings a little bit shame on them, because somebody inserted them in the book, well, in the good books. But I said that I'm not going to take issue over here with what's inserted and what's not, because I have the Torah, it's written, it's recorded, I don't need to go anywhere else. That is my salvation, that is my covenant, that is where my God lives. I said, as for Jesus, fair enough, if you want to really follow the teachings of Jesus, He taught the Torah. Are you doing the Torah? I can guarantee you're not doing the Torah 90% of the times you're not. But I said, I'm not going to take issue with that at all. I am perfectly fine. You can do your Gentile doctrines, you can, run your church. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with it. But I'm not going to go around teaching people things that are actually false. Technically they are false. I said, I'm that person who stood up against his father and told him, I will not follow your faith because my faith and your faith are not from God. So I said, I'm that person. Do you think I'm going to listen to a pastor who doesn't know any history about our books? I said, these books that you call your books, they're not your books, they're our books. I know my history or my book's history. Therefore, I'm not going to go around teaching things that I know are not true, that I know are going to get people into trouble. I'm not going to do that. So, I thanked him for coming up. I explained to him a few other things. I took him a little bit back into the Old Testament, brought him into the New Testament. We had a few other discussions. He thanked me. We prayed together. We gave thanks to God. And we said, it's nice for me to see you. And he said, it's nice for me to meet you as well. And so we departed on a happy note, peaceful note. Then I had a few other meetings where I had the similar situations. We departed on a happy note. No problems, no issues whatsoever. I was happy to meet the pastors. I was happy to listen to their New Testament theology, and I was happy to correct them that theology actually has no basis in the Torah. So let's not go any further than that. So this is basically where we are. I had several miracles while I was here, Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I was sitting in a cab over here, and they allow you to plug your telephone on Bluetooth and play it through their speaker. You know what? I was playing Hebrew music. I was playing the music of a Jewish singer, Sarif Haddad. I was playing her music in the car, Shema Israel, loud and real loud as well. So I was playing that. Of course, the driver didn't understand it, but I played it nevertheless. So, I played that music, and I said, let Shema Israel be heard in Pakistan. Shema Israel, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh Echad. Shema Israel, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad, as she says it. So I was doing that, Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Everywhere I went in this country, I've been given favor. People have, opened doors for me. So many things happened over here. It's amazing, just totally amazing. How people have received me with real affection and really been nice to me, and I'm extremely grateful for their hospitality. Extremely grateful to the God of Israel for the blessings and the abundance He's given me over here. Very, very happy, very, very good. Many things happen. Of course, it's going to take me too long to explain everything. I've got to actually travel again. I'm just recording this very quickly because I've got to now catch a bus, a coach in about 30 minutes or less. I've got to go catch a coach at the bus station. I've got to now go to another part of the country. So with that, I'm not going to say more than that. I thank you for listening to me, and I wish you all a great and happy celebration of the Feast of Tabernacles, the time of joy, the time of giving, the time of receiving, and the time of remembering how in the future, when God restores all of us back in Israel, we're going to have a huge Tabernacles festival, which the book of Zechariah 14 speaks about, where the nations will come up, Gentile nations will come up to Israel to give thanks, to actually offer sacrifices. And I reminded the people I was with, I said, we are not going to come and join you. Don't ever think that Israel, the children of Israel, are going to come and join your denominations. I said, remember what the prophet stated. You will come up to us, and you will come up to us with your leaders, and you'll give offerings in Jerusalem. So I said, with that note, I'd like to thank you to see and meet a real biological descendant of Israel. So they were very, very happy to see me, and they expressed an interest to see me further. And I said, when I come back into your city, I will gladly be able to sit with you and have another discussion. So Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Toda Rabba for listening. I wish you a very, very happy festival of Tabernacles, Sukkot, and over to you, Rabbi Kefa. Have a great Shabbat, a holy Shabbat, a great week ahead, and a wonderful time with your families. Shabbat Shalom, and Shalom Shalom.